I apologise if my commentary and bits to camera in this video seem a little distracted, as I may have been exposed to too many paint fumes in such an enclosed space. Anyway, without further ado, hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from Sort of Interesting, and today you are joining me on board good old Narrowboat Abel's Ark. And I want to talk maybe a little bit more deeply about my approach to boat life, as I feel that there's been a subtle shift from a good place to a bad place at the start of the year, back to a good place at this particular moment. So what I'm planning on doing is obviously getting this video done and edited, which will have happened if you're watching me now. And after that, I'm going to delete all of the videos and photos off my phone and then start again from scratch with some of the projects I was working on, and just have a fresh new start and approach to YouTube as well as boat life and life in general. I'm back on my early mornings, not quite the 5:30am starts that I was having at the start of the year as an experiment. I've gone for a more gentlemanly 6:30am start to the mornings. So without further ado, I've got plenty of time on my hands again all of a sudden, so let's go boating, let's talk about boat life, let's just enjoy some good old times on the canals and away from them. It is midnight, and here we have discovered a delightful toad. So we're here with the sun setting behind us, these amazing flashes of colour on the wibbly wobbly canal bank here, and then of course, just to create that perfect rural scene, we've got two cows on the far side of the canal here, reflections in the water, and again, how absolutely beautiful. Now, when this clip was being recorded, I was actually in a race against time to get to a shop before it closed, and well, as you can see from this dramatic footage, it was a close call. Given that it is a Sunday with early closing for most of the shops, I knew it would be quicker and more likely for me to get in before closing time if I moored up the boat early, proceeded the rest of the way on foot. So slightly out of breath, but definitely on time. We're getting supplies tonight. Quarter of an hour left though, so I can't really afford to be doing too much talking to camera, which is why it's so unstable, because I'm keeping up the pace. Well over 9 years ago when I first decided that I was going to buy a boat, and then just over 7 years ago when I actually bought a boat, it was always intended to just be a headquarters that I could move around to go off adventuring and exploring and just enjoy the best life that I could, with as much time devoted to the things that I loved. As I always say, astronomy, cycling, walking, and an awful lot of writing back then too. And it worked absolutely fine for the early period. Then really that's what drew me back to it after moving back to dry land for 2 years. However, at the start of the year I just wasn't enjoying it, and I started to go to my saying of there's more to life than boats, as if boat life was a tiny part of my life, rather than viewing it as, well, it's that tiny part of my life that anchors the ability to go off spending all this time doing the things that I love. Hello there folks, it's just after 3am. As you can hear, we've got a fair old bit of rain coming down. Hope you ain't planning on getting to sleep too early tonight. Also, yes, I have indeed fallen asleep wearing my normal clothes, which, well, I don't know, yeah. I think I'll just go back to sleep wearing them, to be honest, at this point. We're 5 hours into the evening, really, yeah. I don't know if I had gone through with selling the boat as I'd planned to in that early part of the year would have changed my outlook on boat life when suddenly I didn't have one again and it was beautiful summer weather. But I've got to say I'm very glad that I didn't sell up in that peak moment of, oh, I'm in the siege mentality of being trapped on the boat all the time because it's such terrible weather. At this phase I still hadn't got a car, so I couldn't just easily nip out and go places and all the rest of it. But ultimately I suppose it highlights one of my key concerns with boat life, and that's not becoming like some of the more bitter characters that you do come across on the canals every so often, who have clearly fallen out of love with boat life, but through various means, whether it's psychological, financial or otherwise, find themselves unable to leave boat life and go back to dry land or live a conventional lifestyle, whatever that may mean to different people. And you can see with some people that you do come across that bitter unhappiness or that inherent lack of satisfaction with their life. And that's something that I am incredibly keen to avoid, as you can imagine. It's possibly my second biggest fear in life, behind only one of my key fears of never being able to retire in my life. Well, retire more so than I have already, I suppose. But in all seriousness, I love boat life, and part of that is being able to get away from the boat, because boat life, this low-cost lifestyle, enables me to have more free time and not be worrying about getting more money and getting to work for as much overtime as I possibly can and going off doing things like this. I'm here at the moment, as you're looking at this clip, stood on a little hill at Nestcliff looking across the Shropshire Plains. And this is where I'm from. This is me. This is what I love. This is what made me into the Narrowboat lad in the first place. A love of this extremely rural environment and wanting to be able to spend lots of time out and about here. And that's really the key to my love of boat life, is going back all those years when I first decided to buy a boat. Not the idea of, oh yes, I want to live on a boat and be on a boat as a tiny little floating prison, but instead being out and about enjoying as much of what the countryside has to offer as I can. Silly as it may seem, even things like this, just doing odd jobs on board with my granddad. I mean, there's no rush. We take our time. We have a lot of comedy chuckle brother moments when things don't quite line up, and then we go back to the drawing board, but it's quality time spent together, just enjoying life at a leisurely pace. As with things like this, going off to spend a night in somewhere like Shrewsbury. Admittedly, it's only 20 minutes down the road, but it's being able to have that freedom to be like, oh yeah, we'll go off and spend some quality time with, somebody. Let's quickly move on. But again, somewhere like this is the Loopy Shrew Hotel and Restaurant. Fascinating place. As with so many places in Shrewsbury, it's cobbled together in all these old buildings with, well, the layouts just don't even make any sense. As you can see, there's corridors and nooks and crannies all over the place, and the floorboards are so uneven in some of the rooms. It's great fun. Just lovely time spent with, well, good people in many cases. And then coming back to the canals and walking down the towpath to the boat, lo and behold, you're walking past historical wooden vessels that are now under the stewardship of charities, keeping the old ways alive and active on the canals. I mean, it's such a fascinating juxtaposition of the old horse-drawn wooden boats that you see every so often going past. And then here I am, painting my walls on the boat on a whim. A mistake maybe with all the other stuff I've got going on at the moment. But I'm here streaming videos on Netflix and YouTube to my little boat, well, and a near 100-year-old boat goes past. I mean, it's just madness when you think about it, that it's almost like I'm living in a parallel universe where I just don't even know what to say. But yeah, I think I probably should have just got a few of my other jobs out of the way before I started painting. But too late now, it's almost done and life's all good. Speaking of juxtapositions between the old and the new, I wanted to throw in a couple of quick clips of the lighting up of Chirk Aqueduct and Viaduct. For those who haven't seen my full video on this, check out my channel for more on this. But yeah, the morning after going to see that, I was out wandering underneath the Pont Cysylltu Aqueduct here and along the River Dee, and this is what life's about. This is what my life's about, and it's something that it does actually sometimes drive me a little bit mad that people so pigeonhole me into boat life. This channel was never meant to be a boat channel. It's called Sort of Interesting, not Boat of Interesting. But you know what I did later on that day? Firstly, I had a sports massage, which really, really, really hurt and bruised my back. But then I went off to Erdig Hall, or Erdig Hall as it's correctly pronounced, and saw some absolutely extraordinary history here. And yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to really have a bit more of a thoughtful discussion and just share some thoughts here in this video. Now I'm going to delete, like I say, hundreds of video clips and photos and start afresh with this YouTube channel. And what a better place to draw the end of this current phase for this mid-section of the year than, well, hundreds of years in the past. Anyway, my friends, I think it's about time I wrap this video up and said thank you so much for tuning in. I know this one's been a little bit of an obscure video probably, but normal videos and new styles of video are coming in soon. If you want to help me out, please do consider checking the links in the description and checking out my short books for the Kindle and as a paperback. It really helps me out. And well, until the next time, I'll leave all the links to me posting boaty pictures on Facebook and Twitter and goodness knows what else in the description below as well. And simply say, have an absolutely fantastic day, keep it boat worthy, keep it interesting, and of course, my friends, farewell.